Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Committed Critics, a pop culture podcast where we're not only committed to our opinions, but also each other.
Aww.
I'm Kevin Lau.
And I'm Zachary Wright, and we are Ryan-less this week, but we also have a different guest this week. Sitting right next to me. Who is she?
Hello, it's me. It's me, Jordan. There we go.
Mamma mia.
Mamma mia.
Put me in as Mario. Chris Pratt is out.
I'll take
it. We're gonna gender bend Mario. I'm down for that.
Yes. Mm-hmm. But yes, no, I am here today. Hello. And that is because I have a special topic for you all. And I decided I wanted to join in on it too and not just suggest something.
Jordan, what is your special topic?
So, I came up with this topic. We're gonna do a little throwback, okay, to like a week ago.
Well, in the yonder years of last week.
Yes. Try to remember what you had for dinner. So
that's rough.
Exactly. So Zach was playing Guardians of the Galaxy recently, and he finished it. And I was kind of sitting next to him while I was playing Animal Crossing and doing whatever. And something that we kind of both talked about after he finished it was just how good the music was. Now, obviously, Guardians is known in the movies and stuff for the music, but the video game carried it through, which is great. And it did a little light bulb above my head and made me think of, to something for you guys, which is iconic and video game scores and soundtracks. So we're combining the two in this one episode. We're not just going to talk about scores or just soundtracks. You can separate them if you want, but in this episode, it's going to be encompassing all of it.
Just music in general.
Just music and video games in general, because there are some really iconic ones. And speaking of which, for you guys, what is one video game you consider to have an iconic score or soundtrack, and why?
I will lead off with this one. For me, I think the go-to one is Super Mario, just because you hear that theme and like, who doesn't know it? Like who doesn't understand the like you hear that and like it brings back all the like your memories of playing on the Wii or Mario Kart, hearing the chaotic Mario Kart music when you're trying to do homework, like that challenge back in college. So like the Mario music itself is just so iconic and it plays so well into the games and how they work, et cetera, et cetera.
As soon as you hear it, you have a sudden urge to jump on a turtle.
And jump on a turtle and just crush it to death.
Shell will be fine.
Yeah, but in that same vein, like Halo Infinite just released, and when that game when I first turned it on my PC and heard the operatic music came in, the
Very well.
Yes, thank you. When I heard that kick in, I'm like, wow, this shot me right back to college, sitting in the dorm rooms, playing locally with like Ryan and our friends, just belting that at the top of our lungs when it would kick on during the loading screen. So hearing either of those for a split second really triggers all these memories and nostalgia in different ways. And that's what makes it iconic to me personally. And there's other examples other people have, like Ryan, for example, put in like Persona has a lot of jazz and blues with Japanese undertones.
Persona 5, we should clarify.
Persona 5, thank you. He didn't say if it was Persona 5 or Persona 5 Royal. So,
well, I mean, they're basically the same game, but
yeah, but I wonder if it has different music in the game. Like,
there should be more in Royals. It's just basically an extended cut.
Right. Okay. And then also Ryan also loves Kingdom Hearts, so there's that. Which also like Kingdom Hearts, like since I like when I played it, it did have a good ending song, and Kingdom Hearts music does hit. So
I never got to the ending. I saw the opening. It just Sora's in the sky, but also he's on the beach and he's looking up at its sky and he's falling.
He falls through the murals of the Disney princesses. You forgot that part.
Yeah. What a game.
Yeah, what a game. But now that Ryan's not here, we can say that he loves Frozen music.
Yes, he does.
He loves Disney music, and therefore he loves Frozen music.
His favorite part
100% true. You can't deny. Ryan will deny it, but it is 100% true.
These are facts. You cannot...
Wink, wink.
And his favorite Disney character is Olaf. So...
He has like Olaf collection. It's very strange.
He even brought Olaf to school one time.
He did.
For show and tell. It's like, it's college, so we don't have show and tell.
Yeah, we don't have show and tell.
He just did it.
Can the title of this episode be Ryan Loves Olaf? But Kevin, what's an example for you? What music do you love in video games?
So again, kind of reiterating what you're saying, like Super Mario Bros. Music is so iconic that you can make a dad joke about it and people would still get the joke. it's like, oh, what's Mario's favorite fabric to use for pants? Denim, denim, denim. Like, and that's not even like the main theme of Mario. That's the second level when you go underground.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like in the first theme, you got the do 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 do. Like that's in every Mario game.
Yeah.
Even I was playing. It's even in Super Mario Odyssey in some segments. And so also there's also Bowser's Castle theme, which is really great.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Like, it's like really fast-paced music. Like you're like at the edge of your seat. You're like, oh my god, I can't make the jump. But also another game I really love the theme of is The Legend of Zelda. Like from the first game alone, it perfectly captures the sense of adventure that the game design strives for. And like and the music has evolved over time as it gets to different generations of hardware. To I think the best rendition of the Legend of Zelda theme is in Skyward Sword when they have a fully orchestrated soundtrack with the game. It's amazing. It's the one of the few good things about Skyward Sword. The rest of it's kind of
I mean, yeah.
The story is also really good in Skyward Sword, but it's just the gameplay. It's like, how did you mess it up twice?
That bad.
Yeah. The second time was worse. It's really? So weird. Wow. Yeah.
Rip.
Honorary mention for score, Crash Bandicoot. Love that score. But also like I'm very nostalgic for Crash Bandicoot. He was like the first. I guess you could say he's the first video game mascot I kind of clung to.
I like the racing one.
Games.
The racing one for PS2. So let's go.
Oh, not the PS2 one. No, we don't talk about that one. PlayStation 1 when Naughty Dog was developing it. It's great.
Oh my god.
But yeah, and then like, so I think, PS1 was the first main console I played on. I remember playing on Super Nintendo beforehand. And also, honorary soundtrack mention, Alan Wake has some of the best end credits theme songs for each episode. Totally fantastic.
What about you, Jordan?
All right. This is going to come as a huge shocker to you and our audience. But for me, it would be Animal Crossing.
What?
I know, right? It's just hearing the main theme always just makes me so happy. Like, I struggle with mental health and mental illnesses and, being a depressed 22-year-old who maybe doesn't like my job all the time. But, I come home and I play Animal Crossing and I hear the theme and I'm just like, it's the serotonin boost I needed. And I just feel like if I heard it anywhere, I would just kind of be immediately sent back to my childhood, like playing on my DS, under the covers, past my bedtime, trying to make it look like I'm actually asleep without waking up my parents. And
as soon as you hear like someone walk by, you close it and stuff it on your pillow.
Like they always actually my parents would check in on me because they knew I would always stay up even before I got handheld gaming consoles. But yeah, and actually when I first started playing Animal Crossing New Horizons, because I didn't get my Switch or Animal Crossing until March of 2020, so right before the pandemic really got super serious. And I remember the first time KK played on my island, and I actually teared up a little bit just hearing the Animal Crossing theme, because I was like, oh my goodness, here we are, I'm back in my childhood, in this amazing game. And it was just so nice. It's just such a nice nostalgic factor. And I just think overall, for us, we all kind of talked about it, the nostalgic factor of it. Do you think that's kind of what makes something iconic or for a video game? Or do you think without those sounds, what do you think we would still like the video games or not?
Yeah, I think definitely when a game is rebooted or it comes back or it's a sequel, for example, when you hear that music and it kicks in at the right moment, it's all about timing with music. If you hear the right thing during a hype moment and you hear it kick in, it feels good. It hits really well. And I think that's very important for when for those sequels and games that have been rebooted. It brings you back to that time when you played the first game again, and hearing that score or soundtrack hit, it just brings that hypeness up to a level 100. I can't think of a video game example, but when you hear the Avengers theme in the end game, right? When you hear it hits because you've heard it so many times. Kevin, what do you think?
I mean, there's also the idea of theme songs and TV shows. That's every kid show has a theme song.
Right. Yeah.
Well, most of them. They're kind of going away from it now. It's really weird.
Shame.
But no, yeah. But like, you know, when you hear that theme song play into the score of the show, like it's still like it's like, oh yeah, this is the theme song, I love it. And then you watch it again years later, it's like, yeah, like you hear the theme song, it brings you back.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same thing with video games. I mean, video games don't have like theme song openings. I think the closest thing we ever got to that was when you clicked on the Wii menu, the game on the when you, on the Wii, click on it on the Wii menu.
Yeah,
and then the game like plays that little intro, or like Mario comes in, is like Super Mario Galaxy, and then you gotta click start to start the game.
Mario Kart, wee.
Yeah, exactly. Like those, I think that's the closest we got to like theme songs in video games, again, like TV show style. And I think like that also helps. Like, you know, you're like, yes, like this is what I'm gonna play now. It's gonna be great. And you click start. You have to sit through a loading screen, and then finally the game starts. But it's like it's easier to. It's nice to have that little thing at the beginning before the game loads and has to start the game. But I said weird roundabout way of getting back to the question. So yes, I think music is very important to give it like a nice nostalgic feel because it's so iconic. And like Mario would not feel the same without its theme song. If you played Super Mario Galaxy, or Super Mario Odyssey, and it did not have the original theme at all anywhere, it'd feel a little weird.
Yeah, for sure.
Like Breath of the Wild still has the main theme in it, but it changes it up a bit with its overall sound design, and it still works. But like, you know, it also feels like a very different Zelda game from the rest of the series.
But it still feels like Zelda because it uses those music cues correctly. Like when you pick up an item or a sword, or like when the little drip down into the Sheikah slate when you're getting the maps.
I love that.
Oh, that's such a good sound. I love it.
Right. Yeah. It's still it's still a Zelda game. Like it still has like, it's like, oh, you got like, you know, instead of like puzzle dungeons, it's now just a bunch of shrines. And then like it's very open world. So like, you know, it's like it's both very different from everything before it, but also like this is still Zelda. It's still that iconic Zelda game design and sound design as well. So, but then like when it comes to nostalgia, more on nostalgia, like the Atari games, the Commodore 64 games, they're not in the game collector community. They are actually pretty low in value. Like you rarely see them go up because people are not really nostalgic for those games. Like most of the Atari 2600 games do not have a score to it at all. There's literally no music in there. It's just silence and bit crush sound effects.
That's so weird.
Yeah. Like, you know, some of it's still great because some of the sounds are really great, but like it's still like when you play adventure, which is like you're in a huge maze and you have to find a way out. There's no music at all. It's just like you just bit crush sound effects. You're just a little square on the screen. Then sometimes you pick up an arrow that I guess is a sword, and and there's occasionally you pick up keys, and there's like this weird like pixelated dragon ? It looks like a dragon, but like, you know, and that's like regarded as the best Atari 2600 game. It's like it feels so dated. Like the games without music do not age very well. A lot of shovelware games. Like shovelware is like very like cheap games that you can get like for like $1 maybe. We had a ton of those because it was such easy to develop games for that platform. There's a lot of them don't have music, or if they do have music, it's like so loud and it's so annoying. It's like it makes you sick. Actually,
Tap the Mayo would be an example of a shovelware game.
Oh yes, okay.
Chicken Shoot, if you know that one.
I bought Tap the Mayo 2 on PlayStation 5, and me, Ryan, and Jordan played it. It was like $1.20, and I played it and got the platinum for it because I won the platinum trophy. And it was just
Tap the Mayo. I wouldn't call it shovelware.
Really?
It's still like it's just a stupid thing. That's all it is.
It's worse.
No, it's I don't know. Shovelware is like they try to sell it like a real game, but it's this was like made as a cash grab with like a game development team that didn't care. Look up like Ninja Breadman on Wii. That's a very popular shovelware game, and also Chicken Shoot on Wii. Those are that shovelware. Eminem's Kart Racing or Eminem's Beach. That's I've got a few of them I can show.
Oh no!
To you guys later. Yeah, I love. So the thing is, like, I have an interest in shovelware.
Yeah.
I also like media tie-in games. This is way off topic. I'm so sorry.
That's all right. You're good.
I'm a casual game collector, so like one of the things I like getting is media tie-in games, like tie into cartoons or movies,
Yeah.
or TV shows, like because you never know what you're gonna get. Sometimes they're good, like the Captain America game in Xbox 360. That's a pretty solid game.
Revenge of the
Thor
Sith,
on the
Star
Wii,
Wars,
pretty
video
awful.
games. Oh God. Yeah, Star Wars Revenge of the Sith video games are actually really good too.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I was looking that up. Who developed it again?
God, I
It was
have no
Ubisoft
idea.
Montreal, wasn't it?
Was it?
Yeah, I think so.
I'll look it up. You keep talking.
Yeah, but yeah, no, it's nostalgia, video games, music. Music is important for the games because it helps create the atmosphere for the games that you become nostalgic for. 'Cause when you play it as a kid, and then you grow up and you're like, yeah, I still love this. It's, I mean, nostalgia, it's its own thing. Like,
Yeah.
it's different with each people. I personally am not a nostalgic person. But also, like, you know, when I go back to something that like I watched as a kid, it's just more like, oh, cool. Like, you know, this, like, does it still hold up? Does it not? At least I try not to get nostalgia blindness. Like, it's not really an effort though. It's just really like, do I enjoy it now? Do I not? Sometimes I grow out of it. It's fine.
Do we have a thing for you?
Oh no.
Oh boy, what is it?
Oh, it's part of our Patreon segment of us rewatching the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies.
Tune in
Been
for
a while
that
since
later.
I've seen those.
Oh.
Just to wrap up a loose end, LucasArts developed it. Ubisoft Montreal was the handheld versions of Episode 3, which is the video game.
Gotcha. Okay. LucasArts.
But
they
on
were,
that note,
were great.
yes. But on that note, we'll see you guys after the break.
Starting a podcast? Try a Podbean Unlimited hosting plan. It's what we use here at Committed Critics, giving us the opportunity to have our show on Pandora, iHeartRadio, and even Spotify. You can get your first month of unlimited hosting for free on us by going to podbean.com/committedcrits, just like our Twitter, or by clicking the link in the description. Podbean, the easiest, most affordable option to get started in podcasting.
Don't you wish there was a pop culture review site that appealed to cinephiles, both professional and casual? Well, look no further than crpwrites.com. New content such as movie and TV reviews, film essays, and more are released every week by writers who crave for movies like every moviegoer craves for popcorn. CRP Writes is dedicated to making sure no one is wasting time or money where they shouldn't be. After all, you have to be able to buy your popcorn and eat it too. crpwrites.com. Casual reviews with purpose since 2018.
And welcome back to Committed Critics as we continue our talk about music in video games. Jordan, do you have another question for us?
Of course I do.
Always with the questions.
I know, right? So my next kind of question would be like, in your guys' opinion, what makes the music in a game memorable, or how is it used effectively? We kind of talked a little bit about this before the break, but like, what do you look for, or listen for, I should say?
Kevin, do you want to lead this off, or you want Jordan to go first?
I can go first.
Okay.
Because I think we kind of have a little bit different opinions from the notes I'm reading. But
Yeah, you go ahead.
so when it comes to music in a game, I think it's similar to designing a controller for a system. It's kind of like it's a peripheral that pulls you into the game without making you have to think about it. So like the best controllers are just like you hold in your hands, you just play the game, and like you don't even realize that you're holding a controller essentially.
Okay.
Music sets the tone for a level or sequence if you need to go in guns blazing or be stealthy about it. So like it pulls you into the world, then it's like, you know, then like it like reaches the high moments when it needs to, and it needs to like it's quiet when it needs to as well. Like usually when it's stealth level, there's almost no music, or if there is, it's very quiet music, depending on the game. And I think it'd also be noted that sometimes the best option for a sequence is no music at all, but rather just ambient sound design. Like horror games don't use a lot of music; it all relies on sound design.
Right.
It's very spooky. I have a hard time playing horror games. I have no problem watching horror movies at all. But like when it comes to horror games, it's too interactive and I start to get freaked out.
Yeah.
I can still play it through, but it's kind of like I gotta play in the day with like on speakers instead of headphones.
I get you. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. In terms of soundtracks, I think it works the best in a game when it's able to incorporate obscure songs effectively. When I find myself getting pulled out of a game when it uses when a game uses popular music, because it kind of like brings me back to the real world. It's like, oh, this is a real song I've heard before. Like, and it's like takes me out of the world of the game, which is like
for sure
part of the like my hesitance with like Guardians of the Galaxy game, because it's like it's all like it's like 30 popular songs from the 80s. I'm like, it's a little too much. Like, I understand one or two real songs, but like 30, I'm like, I don't know. All right, man.
So leading into my thoughts real fast to defend Guardians is on it real fast.
I'm not trying to. I'm not. Yeah, this is not a critique on Guardians. It's just my opinion on Guardians.
It's just my opinion.
I'm just gonna add to it. Like, for example, like when we played Control, and there's that music bit where it's the one song where where you were blasting through the the crazy.
That's an original song.
Yeah, it's an original song. It worked really well, right? Guardians has this huddle mechanic, right, where Star-Lord brings them together. He you have to choose the right dialogue option, and you get them to get the Guardians to work together and fight better as a team, right? It's a really cool mechanic in theory. The first time you do it, it's like really, really cool, and it's like, okay, cool. You bring it all together. After you do it correctly, he turns his Walkman on, a song kicks on, and you start kicking ass to like Holding Out for a Hero or Wake Me Up Before You Go, and then it works a lot of the time. But some of the songs are a lot more low key. Like, what was the one that I played that one time? And I was like, this is weird, but also really cool.
Oh God.
Don't worry. Be happy.
Oh yeah.
That song kicked on after the huddle. I'm like, this isn't very hype. Like, this is really meant for a lo-fi kind of moment in the game. Right. And that's really the soundtrack is what the soundtrack is only used for, is that cool moment of using the huddle mechanic and playing cool songs while you're fighting these enemies as Star-Lord and the Guardians. So it's really cool. It's cool in that regard, but it's really the only time the soundtrack is used. When they're using it for a story beat, it's more of the in-game Star-Lord band they created for the game itself.
Okay, I agree. That's pretty cool.
And the only other time you hear the soundtrack is when you're just kind of chilling on the ship and you hear it in the background, kind of like GTA, where you hear real life songs in the background.
Okay,
that's really it.
Okay, I think I can work with that then. That sounds much better than that, because I thought it was gonna be it's music kind of constantly playing when you're in the fight sequence. I'm sure some fight sequences had that music.
There's orchestral songs in the story beats and fight scenes, but when you do it's only really the huddle mechanic we can turn on. Honestly, I wish you could just bypass the huddle mechanic entirely, and just when you get into a fight, you can turn on one of the songs and just listen to it in the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 opening to
Mr. Blue Sky.
Mr. Blue Sky.
Yeah, it would have been a cool mechanic, I think, just to have that options where you can you have a button you hold down and to kind of select a song to play from a track list.
Yeah, kind of like GTA 5 with the song wheel. I wish it was kind of like that, but you actually have to it's an ultimate ability. You have to get enough damage, build up the huddle meter, activate the huddle meter, and then the song plays. So it's cool in theory, but it gets really annoying when you just want to listen to music.
Gotcha. I mean, Alan Wake, I say has my favorite soundtrack in it. I mean, because there's 6 episodes in Alan Wake, and at the end of each episode plays a song. They're all very they're all obscure songs until the last episode is Space Oddity by David Bowie, which is a very popular song. But it's the last song of the game and the last credits. And I was totally okay with it. I think it really kind of wrapped it all up together really well. Usually when a game has real popular music, it's just kind of it's a little weird for me.
Yeah. For me, it's just it's got to be similar to a good score in a movie. It needs to hit at a high stakes or high intensity times. And that huddle mechanic, back to my point, where it's that huddle mechanic is a high stakes, high intensity kind of moment. So when you activate it, you're fighting the Guardians of the Galaxy. You activate it, you feel badass, you feel cool, you feel like the Guardians. I'm done. I I stop. Jordan, what's something for you?
Well, you brought up high intensity.
Yes.
And when I think of high intensity, I think of Mario Kart.
Oh God.
Like,
When
okay,
you get that.
picture this. You're on Moo Moo Meadows, okay? You're about to enter the third lap, and the music just goes off, right?
You're in second place. You're
You're
behind
in
Kevin.
Like, I love that. I love, like, when I think of just high intensity stuff, I mean, I haven't played more of the, I guess, not mainstream, but like the games that Zach and you Kevin play, like I haven't really played. But like Mario Kart, just kind of the music speeding up with every lap will always kind of be memorable and effective because it just adds to that tension. Like it's a different type of intensity, I would say.
Sure, yeah.
Like, you're not going to die. I mean, you fall off the track and stuff, but like you don't have to kind of restart.
Still high intensity.
Well,
high
because
stakes,
it's
though.
like, like it's the last lap. The chips are down. Like you gotta go.
You just gotta like try to finish first. Like I always kind of think of that. And another one that I kind of just popped in my head would be Pokemon.
Oh yeah.
Like the battle scenes, they're always so intense with that music because it's specific to just when you're battling something. And I'm one of those weird people that I don't actually like battling in Pokemon, which I know is like the majority of the game, but
That is the point.
yes, yeah, I don't like battling. I just want to catch them all, literally. And so to me, like having that intensity, it's like I start sweating and I'm like, this is way too intense for me. I'm gonna freak out. I do not want my Piplup to die right now. Like,
have you played Pokemon Ranger at all?
Okay. Funny part of that. I never did. My brother had it on DS.
Okay.
And he actually physically broke his DS in half because he got so mad at the game. Like he like bent it backwards and destroyed his Nintendo DS. And yeah, so I never got to play it because I got scared, but I don't get mad like he does with games. But yes.
So in Pokemon Ranger, you don't fight Pokemon to capture them. You just like circle around them with your pen to capture them, so, like as like friendship points.
Yeah.
So I mean, like if you like catching Pokemon, but you don't want to like fight them, have them fight. I think that's the best option if you can find it.
I think you need to get over your fighting shtick and just try it. It is pretty fun.
I have, and I just can't. I'm not like I'm actually very competitive. I'm a very competitive person, but when it comes to that, like they're just so cute. I don't want to hurt them.
That's fair. That's fine.
I'll find an alternative. There's definitely alternatives. I think
Pokemon Snap.
Arceus might let you capture without fighting.
That or Pokemon Snap, where it's like you just take pictures of them and you capture them, quote unquote.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you want to spend $60 on Pokemon Snap though?
No. Anyway, moving on to our final thoughts.
So yes, kind of final thoughts and questions about this. For you personally, like we kind of talked about the nostalgic factor and stuff, but like for you as a person, how important is music to you in a video game?
What about you, Jordan? You lead off.
Okay, so I, if you couldn't tell, I like to play cozier games. So I like kind of that relaxing, kind of atmospheric thing. And I think music is extremely important for that. Yeah. Like I actually can tell you that there have been a couple times I'll be playing Animal Crossing or something and I'll like start to get drowsy. Mm-hmm. And I'll actually like fall asleep for a little bit there just because I'm so relaxed. And I think a part of that is the music. Like I could easily fall asleep to the Animal Crossing theme song if I wanted to.
Look, man, when Cap'n serenades you, it hits.
Yes. I like his little sea shanties. Oh, it's hard to say. Mm-hmm. I think they're cute, but like I will say I do kind of find it weird at times when there isn't any music, but I also know for some aspects of games or like from some genres of games too, not having music, the lack of music kind of lets other things shine. So I mean, like the horror sound design for that, like it builds it up. So that to me makes sense not to have the music. But like also and Animal Crossing, I think does a really good job with this too, is that like if you're by the ocean or something, the music doesn't play. So you actually get to hear more of the sound design of your own island, which I really like as well. But I like also too when different levels of a video game have different music. So we talked about Mario for this, Captain Toad, Treasure Tracker. They do that. So each level has a different sound or a different song. And I really like that too, a different theme. And it just kind of, it adds to the world building. So I like when video games do that, and not to have that is just so odd to me.
Yeah.
For sure.
Kevin, what about you?
Yeah, music is a key element to adding atmosphere to a game. Like if you like, as we mentioned in the Atari era, there's no music in those games.
Right, yeah.
But then like Nintendo came onto the scene and with iconic gameplay, designs, and music, and they just became the face of video games for decades.
Yeah.
And it's like there's a reason why every parent from that generation referred to every game console as a Nintendo. Because it was just so iconic, and it sold so well because they just did such a great job with their game design. So music is very important. It's because without music, the game is really weird.
Right. Yeah. It's Uncanny Valley for sure.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Zach?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, for myself, to myself personally, it isn't the first thing I notice. Like, admittedly, like I do love a good score and good music in a game. But for when I'm playing a game, it's more of mechanics, the colors, the visuals, and then the sound kicks in. If nothing's there, then I realize something's off. Like it's always like the third or fourth thing I noticed. Like I just started playing Kena Bridge of Spirits today, and I was just going through like trying to find these little rock creatures, and like it looked beautiful. The controls felt good. I can't tell you what the music or the like audio sounds like right now because I just haven't like sat in that world long enough. I only played about an hour of it. I haven't sat in that world long enough to really like take into account like how cool or what it sounds like. But however, like when it's a good score or a good soundtrack, it is noticeable. It increases the playing experience tenfold for sure. And when it doesn't, it's a bummer, but it doesn't make or break the game potentially. I think that's more of like a mechanic in how the game feels. That's the most important thing.
Yeah,
but
gameplay is always the most important aspect of a video game.
Right, and when a good score or good music or good sounds hit, it hits. So level of importance is right in the middle, like a 3 out of 5. 5 being the most important, 1 being the least important. It's right there in the middle. Like it's critical for a good game, but it's not necessary for a game to be passable.
That's fair.
On that note, if you want to hear the rest of our thoughts about music in video games and other topics, tune into our full episode over on Patreon, linked below in description. You just have to enter the $5 tier, and you're in. You got everything.
Woo!
You can follow us on Twitter at Committed Chris, that's COMMITTEDCRITS. You can follow us on YouTube at Committed Critics, spelled the same there it is here everywhere else, where we also do Let's Plays as well every Friday, and Stardew Valley every other Saturday. So
joy.
For that.
Also, slight spoilers for the next Patreon episode. I'm totally going to shit on the Sam Raimi movies of Spider-Man. So
yeah,
stay tuned for that.
Look, I will have no defense because it's been a while since I've seen them, so I cannot critically...
they don't hold
Yes, I can kick them while they're down. Yes.
Oh, no.
Special thanks to our current patrons, David Peppers from Game Mechanics, Ryan Kolakowski from Ryan Plays Drums, Andy Phillips from Andy Phillips, and Jody Wright. And we will see you in 2 weeks. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.